Welcome, everybody, to another episode of OG55 Live. We are doing the last live show with the Italiano from Pittsburgh, from the PA. The very last live show as of tomorrow night. This man will be unofficially a California.
Oh my God, I'm really that guy. Yeah, bitch, I'm out.
He is that guy. He is that California guy. Up next on OG55, let's get it. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55 Live. Yes, this is not a premiere. This is absolutely live, and we are celebrating George's last day in the PA. He will be a Californian tomorrow night. We're also going to celebrate, we're on the cusp of a new year. We got a whole new year ahead of us, new beginnings, all kinds of great stuff ahead. George, before we dive in, any thoughts, and where can people find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. First off, I'm super excited. New year, new chapter, literally. I think this is the most appropriate time, I think, for me. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time now. And what better way to do it than to ring in the new year of 2025 than to do the biggest move ever of my whole entire life. Because I was born and raised in the PA for 34 years. And, This East Coast Italiano is about to take the West Coast by storm.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about it. George, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And, of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. And Starship here says, I guess we'll no longer hear the hype train. So that's true.
That is true. No more hype train.
George lives near the train tracks over there in PA, and that is a staple here on the channel. But we won't have the hype train, but we will have...
Nothing can stop us now.
We'll always have that, Starship. We will always have that. All right, let's dive right in. First question of the day is from our good friend, Mr. Trip Johnson. Hey, gang, why do you think Disney's 100th anniversary was such a disaster? I gotta say, Trip, I don't think it was a disaster. I don't think it was a disaster. I think there were elements within it that were a disaster. Disney misspelling everything and providing incorrect information on their banners was a disaster. But for the most part, I mean, we got Wondrous Journeys. Some of the merch was pretty decent. I don't know. I don't think it was a disaster. I thought it was okay. It was okay. Was it the best thing ever? No. But at the same time, it wasn't a disaster. I kind of put it in that middle ground, that gray area, in my opinion. But no, I don't think it was a disaster. But look, Trip, you're right. I mean, there were things about it, though, that did fall flat. Like I said, all the misspellings, the quotes from like Walt Disney that were incorrect all around the parks. There's no excuse for that. Come on, Disney. Like, let's get your stuff together. You know what I'm saying? But overall, in terms of like what they were offering and what we got, I thought it was fine. You know what I'm saying? But what say you, George? What do you think, brother?
For me, I think it goes by what signifies as being a disaster. Now, if you're talking about the side of the 100 of it being, as you said, like misspelling of the signs and the banners, absolutely uncalled for. I'm sorry. That goes through how many different layers, how many different departments? You mean to tell me there was not one person that did a grammar check on any like dates and why, so that to me, yeah, that was a disaster because that's just shameful. When it comes to the actual event itself, I think it was misinterpreted as when people saw 100 of the company. Yes, that is a very major milestone, but we also have to take into consideration this wasn't a milestone of the parks. So when you go into the parks and you're expecting something huge, yes, the parks is incorporated in the Walt Disney Company, right. But this was just something as a whole to say, okay, 100 years of the whole entire Walt Disney Company. There's really nothing too much to really go by. Now, what they could have done too, if they wanted, they could have done the Walt Disney animatronic and have that ready by the 100th.
Yeah.
I would have done something like that, but something along the lines where when they have like an anniversary milestone for the parks, I think that's comparing like apples to oranges.
Yeah, I think it was a decent celebration. I liked Once Upon a Studio. I thought it was a beautiful little short, you know. I loved Wondrous Journeys. We got some good stuff out of the 100th. Again, it wasn't perfect. A lot of the park stuff, like with the banners and all that, obviously that was a total shit show and there was no excuse for that. But for the most part, it was decent. Could it have been better though? 1,000% Trip. But Trip, we appreciate your support over the years. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. T.S. Wade in the house. I made a New Year's resolution, avoid anti-Disney grifters so I can be happy with Disney again despite of their mistakes. You know what, T.S. Wade, your mental health comes first, my friend. And look, I have anxiety, and it doesn't really seem like it. A lot of people watch me on the channel and they're like, oh, this guy, man, he's got all his shit together. I'm a human being too, you know. I have anxiety issues, you know, that I'm dealing with. And one of my things, I've laid off social media. I don't go on X that much anymore. I really don't. I don't care to look at it. It's just a bunch of drama on there all the time. Just in general, I'm just trying to stay away. Your mental health and your happiness always comes first, Wade. And if the anti-Disney grifters were making you miserable or upsetting your peace, by all means, don't watch them. Why fuck up your day? Life is too short, Wade. Life is too short. Thank you.
Not to mention, by you clicking on them, you're actually giving them more power in a sense, you know.
We're in an attention economy. Okay, this is an attention economy. So what you give your attention to, you support, basically. So if you don't like these anti-Disney grifters, don't watch them, don't follow them, don't give them any attention. You know what I'm saying? That's your right, T.S. Wade, to do that. So yeah, George is right. Vote with your attention and vote with your wallet. You know, obviously don't donate or anything too if you don't like them, you know. But and you have every right to do that, Wade. You have every right to do that, you know. So, but Wade, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Matthew Murr with 10 euros. Thank you so much, Matthew. Hey, OG, can't wait to be back on the show for my member chosen topic. Yes, Matthew, we're doing a new thing on the channel here where we're letting members choose a topic and we're going to make a whole video on that topic. Matthew submitted his topic and we will have Matthew on his topic video. Matthew, I'll reach out to you. I got your DMs. Don't worry. George is moving tomorrow, so it's been crazy. I still have this fucking cold and it's driving me crazy. I still feel like shit, to be honest with you. But we'll get a date set, Matthew, and we'll get you on it and we'll do that video 100%. He goes on to continue. Do you think the lack of attention to box office failures by Disney is fair, or do you think no film deserves to be punished? I don't know what you mean by that. Do you think the lack of attention to box office failures by Disney is fair? I don't think there's a lack of attention by anything Disney does. I think Disney is under a microscope, and especially their failures. That's all people talk about in fandoms is Disney, you know, their failures and their missteps. So I don't know, Matthew, if I'm misreading your question, but I don't think that there's a lack of attention towards Disney's failures. I think there's 100% full on attention and almost a focus on it, in my opinion. But what say you, George? What do you think, brother?
Yeah, I feel, there's really nothing too short of, everything that Disney does is under a microscope, whether it's positive or negative, because the second something breaks, you know, it's out in, you know, in the news, in the social media. Same thing for like if something positive, like Inside Out 2 or Moana 2, or if it's something not so positive like Lightyear or, you know, or a Strange World, you know, it's like no matter what, it's either good or bad, but it's under the microscope no matter what. But Disney notices whatever the feedback comes with, and Iger addressed many times, you know, we're going to get back to that regular kind of algorithm with the films, and even with the amount of content that's released, you know, it's going to be quality over quantity. Yeah,
and a friend of the channel, Rogue Attraction, he really good guy. He does content himself on YouTube. Make sure you check him out. A lot of in-park stuff. Welcome to the show, Rogue. Rogue actually kind of piggybacks onto our conversation right now, saying Universal still gets the pass. It's kind of amazing. I agree with you, Rogue, and it's really, really frustrating. what was it? Poseidon's, I can never pronounce it. Poseidon's Fury attraction at Universal Orlando. I have actually right here. It says here that work will likely not begin on a replacement until after completion of the Rip Ride Rocket demolition project and new roller coaster for 2026 and 2027. So you're looking at this thing being abandoned for years. Okay.
Thank God. Thank God. See, normally I would be on Universal's ass with this, but the reason why is because that gives me more time with Mythos.
No, fair point. But overall, though, if that was a Disney thing,
exactly. If that was Disney,
why is it shut down? Why is it shut down so early? If you're not going to even start work on this thing for years, where's the outrage? You know what I'm saying? And look,
not to mention they just did a lengthy refurbishment on that not too long ago. Right,
exactly. Well, and here's the thing too. We're fair here on the channel. We just did a video about the How to Train Your Dragon area. That we Bio Reconstruct has some great aerial shots. George and I were fawning over these images. They look fantastic. We're also critical of Universal. I don't understand why so many people are afraid to just admit, hey, you know what? Universal fucked up. And that's okay to admit that. It's also okay to say they did good. But for some reason, it's like such a taboo thing to acknowledge that this company, this megacorp, this multinational megacorp, Comcast, makes a mistake. This is not Dorothy Ann's cookies on Ventura Boulevard, okay? This company will survive your critiques. It's okay, fandom. It's fine. You can criticize them 100%. Anyway. Yeah. We'll see. It's crazy, bro. It's absolutely crazy. Thank you for joining us, Roy. We do appreciate you, sir. Let me see here. Mr. C. Moore Duck is in the house. Moana 2 crossed 880 million globally. Let's go. Yeah, this franchise is a beast. It's absolutely a beast. This thing is doing very, very well. This past year or so has really been Disney's at the box office. Now we'll see. Mufasa. You know, I think what Sonic 3 beat it out, despite what Disney's saying on Twitter. I believe Sonic.
It seems like it's kind of like going right now. Yeah, Sonic is beating it, but it's like the numbers are still kind of like moving, kind of head to head pretty closely. Because when I went opening weekend, I think it brought in like 42 million. But I mean, this thing has had legs because I've seen it like move up the ladder, which was very surprising.
Yeah. I don't know. You saw it. You didn't really care for it, huh?
I liked it. I didn't love it. I actually really loved the soundtrack.
That's so weird because everyone is saying it sucks. You're the only one.
Here's the thing. I agree yet disagree, and I said this on the phone to you and Ebba. As far as it being classic Disney songs, it sucks in that sense. They don't have that memorable kind of feel like It's a Small World, Part of Your World, Under the Sea, like those kind of songs. But just as individual songs, I like them.
Okay. No, that's fair. And I appreciate
it. Timon and Pumbaa, completely unnecessary for this film. They were so obnoxious. They were not charming. They were not funny. They were obnoxious. They didn't need it. Like the way that they went with Rafiki telling the story of Mufasa to Kiara, that was cool. I actually think the character of Rafiki was really well done. Very well put in this film. Timon and Pumbaa, they did not need.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm not going to like Timon and Pumbaa. I'm not a big fan of corny jokes and stuff like that. It doesn't work for me. And from what you're explaining, it doesn't sound that appetizing for me personally. But I will give Mufasa a little bit of credit because at least it wasn't a beat for beat remake of an older movie. At least they're trying to tell a different story. I can respect that. Out the gate, I can already respect that. You know what I'm saying? But will I see it in theaters? No, it's not on my list. It's not on my list. That is not on my list. Mr. Joe Gons is in the house. What if Disney doesn't plan to build a Coco Land at DCA because they have plans for a Mexico pavilion at Westcott? That's my guess to avoid repetition. So, Joe, from your lips to God's ears, okay, if we ever get Westcott in California, I will be a happy, happy OG. I think they should because I think, look, a lot of people will tell you, right, well, they're not going to build Westcott. That's not going to be popular. In California, it would be extremely popular, okay? the food and wine festivals, the drink around the world stuff. I mean, the locals would go nuts for that shit in California. Westcott would do amazing. And Burbank would also be able to get all their IPs in there, like you're showing here. There's possibility you can put Coco in the Mexico Pavilion. You can do Moana. It depends on the pavilions, you know what I'm saying? But you can throw your IP in there, and it can be very lucrative for them. And I'm telling you, with the local heavy market that we have out here in California, Westcott would do buco business. Now, are they going to do Westcott? As much as I love Westcott, everyone that is a fan of the channel knows I love Westcott. The chances of them doing Westcott are probably next to nothing. But I'm telling you, Disney, you're sleeping on money. You are sleeping on it with those festivals, the drink around the world stuff, and all the different cultures and everything that we have out here in California. You can do so much with Westcott, man. But what do you think, George? What's your thought, brother?
I definitely agree with Westcott. I think that would have been a very nice, well-rounded route to go. Especially because obviously they are considering for a third gate. Eventually, that's what Disneyland Forward is going to lean into. We all speculated that, chances are it's going to go into the Toy Story parking lot. I think Westcott would be a great addition for as far as like another themed kind of theme park. I agree with you. Everything that they bank off of, like the Lunar New Year, food and wine, the sip and stroll that they just had for the Festival of the Holidays, people buy into this stuff.
Yeah.
And, so I don't know why Disney wouldn't want to capitalize on it. If they did do Westcott, it wouldn't surprise me that they would do a Mexican pavilion, because it would lean into the California culture with Mexican, Latin, Hispanic. That would be really cool. I just don't know if they're going to go that route, but it is a real shame that they're building finally a Coco themed attraction, but it looks just like it's just going to be an attraction, not like tied to a land with it, which is very disappointing, because I would have loved to have seen it like a Mexican village kind of tied into it.
I've said it so many times, and I always repeat myself because not everyone watches every single video here on the channel, understandably so. But a little Mexican village like what you're describing, George, connected to a Coco boat ride, could be DCA's New Orleans Square. Mm-hmm. with the really quaint little alleyways. You can have like the like taco vendors and stuff, mariachis, outdoor performances, all kinds of stuff, man. It'd be so beautiful. And the fact that they're possibly just going to throw it into Pixar Pier is really disappointing, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, that's the going rumor right now. They're just going to put it behind the Incredicoaster, which I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Mr. Dragon Blood, do you think sometime early next year Disney announces the closure of Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island? I feel like we're getting close to an announcement soon. You mean for Disneyland? They'll never do it at Disneyland, Dragon Blood. And I'll tell you why. The money that Disney makes off of that river with Fantasmic, with the dining packages and all that stuff, and even the Club 33 stuff, that's all connected. Like, there's so much money with Fantasmic and all that stuff there. They're never going to get rid of the Rivers of America here in California. They just won't. And from what I understand, a lot of the issue with Florida's
just say he's confirming he meant for Magic Kingdom.
Oh, for Magic Kingdom. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, okay, okay. I do apologize, Dragon Blood. Sometime next year, Disney announces a close. Yeah, probably.
But really quick, off to what you were saying though. The other reason why Disney would never consider doing it for Disneyland is because I was told that Disneyland has an agreement with the city of Anaheim, or the state of California for that reason, that is a major source of water supply, that if there would have to be a major drought, that water that is used for the Rivers of America would be used for an emergency. That was an agreement between Disney and either the city of Anaheim or actually the state of California or something of that matter.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So yeah, early next year. Well, I think Disney just resubmitted their plans, and I think don't they that water management group have like 30 days to respond to that or something like that?
They have 30 days to respond, either yay or nay. Yeah.
Either yay or nay. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. I mean, if it's yay, then you're looking at, like, let's say they approve it, I don't know, like late January, early February. Yeah, we might get an announcement maybe February or March, Dragon Blood. Absolutely. They're going to go through with it, though. I'm telling you that right now. Cars is a $1 billion franchise, and Villains is another $1 billion franchise. Disney will work it out with that water management group. Whatever they have to do, it might get delayed, and they might have to, resubmit or do whatever they got to do. But believe me, they'll jump through every single hoop they have to jump through to make sure they can put the $1 billion IP there. I assure you. I promise you that. And look, I understand. There's a lot of people who are sad about losing the rivers of America. I understand that, and I respect that. I'm not shitting on anyone's feelings towards that. It's a tough pill to swallow, for a Disney park to lose that. But the reality on the ground, there's no way they're going to cancel that. There's just no way. There's too much money to be made with those two properties there. They're not going to do it. CSRS is in the house. CSRS, always good to see you. With Disney making more exclusive lands for their parks, would Simpsons be exclusive to Hollywood studios, or would it be cloned for DCA in Simba if Avatar and Avengers take over Hollywoodland? So there was a survey. Our good friend Drew, the Disney dude, posted it on social media. There was a survey Disney was asking about if there's an appetite for some Simpsons stuff in the Disney parks. Right. And that kind of fueled, we did a whole video on it, George and I, recently, a couple days ago. And I feel the whole thing about would Disney bring the Simpsons into their parks when the Simpsons contract expires with Universal? I hope we don't get a Simpsons land. I think that Universal did the best they could with what they got. But I think that animation style, no matter how good you do it in a real world environment, will look cheap. Now, what I would prefer CSRS is a Treehouse of Terror sort of, or Treehouse of Horror, whatever it's called, thing for like Oogie Boogie Bash. I think that would be really fun to kind of freshen up that after hours event. Or even, if you want to do Simpsons meet and greets, Simpsons even like in the parades or something, or a show, that's fine. But a land, I don't want to see another Springfield or some shit like that. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Or I had mentioned in the video that we did, that if they were to put the Simpsons in Hollywood studios, kind of go back of how they were going to do like the Great Muppet Movie Ride, but do it with the Simpsons, kind of like a parody, like the Simpsons kind of like showcase their versions of like cinematic films like Indiana Jones or Star Wars or The Wizard of Oz or whatever else they wanted to do. I think that would be kind of cool, because it would be a Simpsons ride, but it would be a play on like paying homage to the Great Movie Ride. Plus they were going to do it with the Muppets anyway, so the Simpsons, I feel like, can go on with that kind of slapstick kind of attraction.
Yeah. Now Rogue here has an interesting idea. A Simpsons hotel could work. See, that's interesting. I'd be open for something like that. For Simpsons, I think that you can kind of do it in different kind of ways. I just don't want to have a land. Now, George, you had an interesting idea with an attraction, though. Mm-hmm. Taking the Great Movie Ride concept and having Simpsons characters reenact, iconic scenes from various movies. You want to go ahead and elaborate on that? Because I thought it was a cool idea for maybe a standalone attraction.
Yeah, that's what I was like describing. Like if they can kind of do like their own version of like their own take on Star Wars, Indiana Jones, The Wizard of Oz, it would be kind of like a slapstick kind of like way of how the Simpsons would do it in their style, sort of like they were going to do the Great Muppet Movie Ride. But I think that would have been kind of cool. And that would be part of Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we got Slimer in the house. Slimer in the house, family here on the channel. And you know what? We haven't had a Slimer drop in a while. So when Slimer's here,
and all these dollars got commas that come with commas behind them, and all my Slimers be slamming them, and all my Slimers be slamming them, and all my Slimers be slamming them, and all my Slimers be slamming.
There he is. Slimer is in the house. It's official. Blow the whistle. Mr. Albert Rodriguez, if the Comcast merger goes through, and I'm assuming that would be between Warner Brothers and Universal Comcast, how long could it take before we see WB IPs in Universal Parks, if at all? I think Universal is going to act pretty fast on that. If Universal is able to snag that Warner Brothers IP, I think within a few years, they're going to start working on that.
Not to mention that the Warner Brothers lot is like right down from Universal.
Dude,
So,
it would be such a game changer for Universal, because then what would that mean for Hollywood, George? Because you can take all those sound stages that are preventing Universal Hollywood from expanding, and you can put them into the Warner Brothers lot. And now you have more room to work with and expand Hollywood into a bigger theme park experience. Absolutely incredible. And not to mention, I've always said Universal has an in-house IP problem. They borrow a lot of popular IP, but they don't have a lot of in-house stuff to really tap from. You inherit the Warner Brothers library, and you get Harry Potter. You're not paying licensing fees anymore for that franchise to use in your parks. You get the Looney Tunes, Animaniacs, all the DC stuff, all the Hanna-Barbera stuff, Tom and Jerry. I mean, it's endless, bro. Endless. People always say, oh, well, you know what? Epic Universe is going to make Disney shaking their boots. No. If Comcast Universal buys Warner Brothers, you will see Disney shit their pants. That is a game changer. Absolute game changer. So we'll see. Cassandra Chamberlain in-house. I remember meeting the Simpsons at a mall in the early 90s. Very cool.
Cassandra, I had to bring that up because I might have to find some photos, do like a flashback 90s, because I actually got to meet the Simpsons in the mall in the 90s. They had a thing called, I don't know if any of you, it was called Fox Fest. And they did it once a year. They did like Fox Fest 96, Fox Fest 94, and they brought like all celebrities and stars of the Fox network, all the costume characters that represented the Fox network at the time, being that the Simpsons were on Fox at a time that they did have the costume characters. So yeah, that was so I had to bring that up because yes, I actually got to experience the Simpsons in my local mall as well in the 90s.
There it is. Rogue here says, wouldn't it be hard to compete with local Mexican food, like making a New England movie based around ship making? Here's the thing, Rogue, and he's talking about Coco, or a Mexican pavilion in a theoretical Westcott here in Anaheim. The Coco stuff and the Latin America celebrations that we have out here in California actually do very, very well. There is definitely a market for it, so yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, it does pull crowds. It absolutely pulls crowds. Mr. Seymour Duck here says, what a 21st century animation? Oh, what about a 21st century animation land? Not just Simpsons, but all the adult animations like Family Guy and Bob's Burgers. See, a land like that could work, I think, in a park like Hollywood Studios, to have like a Fox land, so to speak. Would you be okay with that, or? Depending on how they handle it,
it would depend on how it would be. Yeah, depending on how it was handled, it's very iffy, and I don't blame Disney or Universal because again, it's the best way that you can do it with that kind of animation, that kind of style. Because essentially, what you're doing is you're taking an animated cartoon that's centered around real world, so it's like nothing that looks out of the ordinary. They look like regular buildings, regular houses, but they're very cartoony, and kind of like has like a plastic look, very rigid. So if it's done well, I would be okay with that, but it's all about the execution.
Yeah, fair point. J Brad, it's always good to see you, J Brad. We got to get you back on the channel, brother. We had a great conversation with J Brad like about 2 weeks ago now about a 5th park at Walt Disney World. Check that out. A great conversation. J Brad here says, in my experience, when the topic of Universal Studios comes up, more people are mad at the good stuff they got rid of. That's interesting. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad that people are actually holding them accountable more now, from what you're seeing, J Brad, because they should. It's good. Look, you should absolutely give all the flowers and praise to these companies when they do really well, but you should also not exempt certain companies from critique. Universal is not above critique, and when they fuck up, it's okay to call them out on that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you're seeing that, J Brad. I honestly haven't been on as much social media as I used to be, so admittedly, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not as tapped in with it, but I'm glad to see that some people are actually calling them out, and they should. Rogue here says, I still miss Back to the Future and Jaws. I'm telling you.
Agree. I definitely miss Back to the Future, and honestly, I do enjoy Escape from Gringotts. I really do. It's a phenomenal ride, but I do have a little bit of a bias there because it replaced Jaws. I don't know why. I just felt like Jaws was so quintessential Universal.
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
yeah. Come on, Jaws. You know, we still got Jaws out here in Cali, and it's funny. The scuba diver that gets eaten, his name is George.
I know, isn't that wild?
Like they're doing you wrong, George, over there.
It's like, you want to be Disney bias? Here you go.
They're like, we're gonna name
I
our.
will say though, I do like how they have a little piece of Jaws, because it's on the tram tour. But the one in Florida was a full-on scale attraction where you actually get on a boat, you go out into the water, you literally come face to face with Jaws multiple times until like the grand finale, of him. Yeah, like I missed that attraction.
Yeah, 100%. I miss Back to the Future. I'll take any look with what Universal is capable of doing nowadays. Look what they're doing with this Ministry of Magic attraction over at Epic Universe. It looks amazing, right? Look what they're doing with Dark Universe. Could you imagine what this company today could do with that property, Back to the Future?
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, insane. Absolutely insane. It would be incredible. J. Brad, they should build Disney's America. That way they could rebuild the river and island. Just saying, Disney, we got the ideas and we're giving them away for free. Absolutely. J. Brad, that's a great idea. Disney's America, for those of you that are not aware, that was going to be built in, was it Virginia, George, if I'm mistaken?
Yes, I think so.
All centered around Americana, and Jay Brad, actually, we talked about that on the video that we did together a couple weeks ago about bringing that concept back as a fifth gate for Walt Disney World. But you're right, Jay Brad. I mean, that would be the perfect park for something like that. So, Dragon Blood, happy B-Day. Oh, happy birthday, SD Drawings. Happy birthday. You know what? We're going to give a little birthday. There we go. Happy birthday, SD Drawings. Let's go. There we go. Happy birthday. Hope you have an amazing, amazing day. And Abby, I think we know Abby, right? Sounds
yeah, I know her.
is wishing you a happy birthday, and so is J. Brad. Slimer here says, good point, J. Brad. Universal Studios does live in its own shadow, but I think we're in for a treat within the next few years. Yeah. Hey, look, you know what, Slimer? You know me, bro. Like we're close. We've done a lot of videos together, and I've been very skeptical of a lot of the Epic Universe stuff. It's winning me over, man. It is.
I just hope when they rip out Rip Ride Rocket, that they don't replace it with. If they're going to do another coaster, that's fine, but they need to up themselves and not just think of replacing it with a coaster that just has better park operations, tied to it. It has to be something well-rounded, like do something with, as I said, Slammer and I had that conversation when I was visiting down there, do something like with Beetlejuice or Ghostbusters or even Back to the Future, do something like.
Yes. Yeah. Slimer, would you be okay if they did Ghostbusters? I don't know if you really like that franchise or not.
I don't know.
I don't know if he's really into that.
I'm kind of iffy on that.
Trey Porter is in the house. Good evening to you, brothers. Good evening to you, Trey. We appreciate you. Okay, let me kind of get back to some of these. Let me see here. Dragon Blood here says, I'm honestly tired of people praising Universal online like they are a god. It has to stop. No one is above mistakes. Yes, there's nothing wrong with saying that they're doing good things. But when you don't hold them accountable for messing up, that's where it gets annoying. You know what I'm saying? They do make mistakes, and it's okay to call out the multi-billion-dollar corporation out on it. It's not, you're not going to hurt Brian Roberts' feelings. CSRS here says, how possible is it the Symbol Lot will get a large-scale trackless ride? I mean, it's possible. I mean, it definitely is. We have like 25 or 30 acres on that Symbol Lot, CSRS, so there's a lot of potential there. It's kind of hard to gauge the possibility, though, because we don't know what they're going to build over there.
Nor do we know where Pandora really officially is going yet.
We don't even know if Pandora's going there. We don't know. I mean, we don't know where anything is going right now. So, yeah, if I knew what they were going to do over there, I could tell you a little bit more, because based on the IPs, you'll kind of gauge a little bit more about like what it could possibly be. But yeah, I mean, theoretically, though, it's absolutely possible that we get that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to whatever we get on that symbol lot. But I think they're going to focus mostly on the current footprint and really kind of utilize every square inch of the current land. And then when they're done, go over to symbol lot and use that as expansion. I think Pandora will probably go in the current park right now. Just my guess. I don't know. I don't have any insider information. I haven't talked to Bob Iger in like a week, so I don't know. Last I heard, he didn't know either. But what say you, George?
I think honestly, it would depend on if Pandora is going into the symbol lot or not. I'm coming to the realization that it's probably going to go into Hollywoodland. So I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I think there definitely is enough room there to put an immersive trackless dark ride there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Dragon Blood here says, I still think Pandora is going in Hollywoodland without a single. I'm kind of with you on that, Dragon Blood. I think it's going into Hollywoodland in some way, whether it's replacing that little corner where Monsters Inc. is and into that bus load area, or it's just going to replace the whole damn thing. I don't know. But Hollywoodland is, I think, where they're really looking for it. And it says here the main ticket would be where Five and Dime and some of Monsters Inc. and the Hyperion. Yeah, I honestly, Dragon, that's kind of where I'm at with it too. Is that kind of right now, George, where your mind is at?
Yeah, I think Pandora is going to definitely be in where Hollywoodland is. However, I would think, and I could be wrong, it just depends on the angle perspective of like when we see the concept art. I would think that the show building would be more towards the bus load unload area, and then the facade would be facing where, looking outward, where the Five and Dime building is, where Monsters Inc. is, and then the rest of the land, the water, and then the other buildings around it, that would be where the Hyperion is.
Yeah, we'll see. It's anyone's guess, but yeah, Hollywoodland, I think, is where we're. If I was to put money on it, that's where I would put it. Is Hollywoodland, I think. And I think that's a big reason why we're losing that red car trolley is because of that as well. Mm-hmm. Theme Park Conductor, a fellow content creator, friend of the channel. Go check him out on YouTube, Theme Park Conductor. I think the Disneyland Resort should test out The Simpsons on a small scale by bringing the Treehouse of Horrors event to life at Oogie Boogie Bash before they think about building a land or attraction. I would agree with you on that, with that, Conductor. I think you test it in creative ways like that. You bring it. This is, like I said, the Treehouse of Horrors would be a perfect thing to introduce into Oogie Boogie Bash. I know people love Villains Grove, but people are also upset because Oogie Boogie Bash has kind of stagnated the past few years. Replace Villains Grove with the Treehouse of Horrors.
Unless maybe that's just what they're looking to do regardless, and maybe that's what they were asking for as far as the survey goes. Maybe it was just to see how people would feel if they were to do a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, kind of like with Kang and Kodos kind of thing. I think that'd be really cool. I would really be into that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll see. James Creelman. Good evening, boys. Well, good evening, James. Good to see you. I'm from Vancouver, going to Disneyland September 8th. Do you think the 70th anniversary is still going to be going on by September 8th? Yes. Usually these anniversaries last about 18 months, James. So the 70th kicks off in May, George, if I'm not mistaken?
May 16th it kicks off. Yeah, so you definitely got plenty of time.
Yeah, you're going to be just fine. It'll probably still be going on the following September too.
Yes. So that's what they usually do. Yeah,
about 18 months. And thank you for watching all the way from Vancouver. We appreciate you. J Brad, here's a weird question for you guys that has been on my mind lately. Out of all the mainstream Disney villains, which do you think would have the best chance of turning good?
Well, it's definitely not my ex-wife.
Your ex-wife.
I would pick Maleficent over my ex.
Yeah,
I think that would have a higher chance.
That's funny. There's certain Disney villains that like there's no redemption arc possible. Like Maleficent is definitely Scar. He's just an asshole through and through. I don't know. Like, who do you see as a Disney villain that could possibly be turned around?
It depends on the perspective of how you look at it, because if you watch the live action Maleficent movies, like with Angelina Jolie, they kind of give a little bit of a softer touch to Maleficent because that was Maleficent's point of view sort of thing. with Scar, he felt more portrayed. Now, based off of Mufasa, he felt more portrayed to the fact of that Mufasa was the one getting the attention when he wasn't in no royal blood or whatsoever. So I could see where his animosity, but if you just go based off of the animation, yeah, no, not Scar, not, I don't even know if there would be.
Well, J-Brad's saying Gaston. That's an interesting one. I think that's interesting because he's just a human being. Like, I could see that maybe he could see the error of his ways, possibly. I don't know.
I mean, because he did at the very end, attempt to become a murderer. But I think like up until that point, he was just a male chauvinistic pig, So I think he could have had a redemption up to that point, But when he ends up breaking into the castle with his bow and arrow and his dagger and everything and wanting to kill the beast, it's like, yeah.
Yep.
That is true. That really is true, Brian. I'm going to actually bring this up. Sorry, folks. This may be a little bit of a spoiler here, but I don't know if anyone really gives a shit. So Brian says, Scar saving Simba shows deep down, but he wanted to say Mufasa. In the movie Mufasa, there is a scene at the end where Mufasa almost dies before his actual death by Scar, but Scar ends up saving him.
Okay.
So even though technically Scar then kills him, but there is a moment where he looks him in the eye and saves him. So
yes, but I would argue, devil's advocate, this is a prequel, so maybe he got worse as time went on. I
think also to play devil's advocate to my own statement, that in the movie they kind of explain that to be king, you have to betray. You have to play dirty, so to speak. So it's almost like maybe that Scar saved him to be able to dispose of him later under his own pretense.
Right. Yeah, interesting stuff. Matterhorn Mania says here, seems like this Pandora would decrease capacity in Hollywood land, also more expensive than building on flat land. I don't know how it would decrease capacity though, because what are we really replacing in Hollywood land? Like you're replacing, like let's say it's replacing PhilharMagic and Monsters. Well, from what we're hearing, we're getting the boat ride, which these Disney boat rides are, people eaters. And we're also getting a secondary attraction from what we're hearing. I don't know if we're decreasing capacity. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a numbers guy necessarily, but I think that with the boat ride and another attraction, I think you probably would get more people through there than what we're currently seeing. But what say you, George? What do you think, brother?
For me, yeah, I don't know how it would decrease capacity. If anything, I would think it would increase capacity, for how popular Pandora is actually in the parks, like how it is in Animal Kingdom. It's one of the top, most popular lands there, especially this is going to be a different version of Pandora with a brand new kind of attraction. So I don't know. I don't know actually how it would decrease. I'm not.
Yeah, I feel like it would cycle more people through because I feel like Hollywood land right now is sort of a dead land. There's not a whole lot going on with Hollywood land. So to bring in two blockbuster attractions, a boat ride and another ride that hasn't been announced yet, but we are hearing that it is in development. I don't know. I feel like capacity would be increased. But we'll see. I'm not really sure. We have to get a little more detail on the Pandora stuff to say one way or the other. Slimer here says, George, your move couldn't have happened better timing with the East Coast getting an Arctic front in the next few weeks. Talk about being blown back to life.
Yes, I have heard that the winter front is making a vengeful return. And yes, I will be out of that path. Thank God I won't have to deal with that anymore.
But George, I don't want to burst your bubble, bro. But I'm looking at my app right now, dude. And you're coming out tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we're looking at 68 degrees, bro. It's getting really chilly, dude. Are you able to
handle that?
68, bro. I don't know. You sure you don't want to just stay in PA? I mean, I don't know. Just saying. No,
I think I'll take my chances.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as being blown back to life, hey, there's only one kind, and it's oh so sweet.
And Abby says Cali cold. Exactly. Abby can relate. Abby and I are Californians, so like 65 ish is cold for us. Absolutely.
Yeah, you both are like shivering. Like, oh my god, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I remember like when you like, I forget where we were. Where were we?
The Grand Cali.
Oh, the Grand Cali. That's right. We were by the pool, and we were meeting your mom for lunch, and it was like, what was it, 62, 61 degrees?
Something like that. I'm freezing my ass off.
We were freezing your ass off.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was horrible. I had icicles in my hair. It was crazy. CSRS here says, if DCA's Avatar Land got a second attraction, it would probably take over PhilharMagic. What type of attraction could they fit in that spot? I also think Avatar at DCA will break ground in 2026. Well, if they're gonna meet that timeline, CSRS, of that 5 years that Josh D'Amaro promised us at the expo, they better start on this Avatar thing pretty soon, because this is a pretty ambitious land. In terms of where that second attraction is going to go, I have no idea, CSRS. I mean, it's all speculation. Maybe it will take over the PhilharMagic area, maybe not. Maybe it'll take over the Hyperion. I don't really know.
It also depends on what that attraction is too, and like how much it would have to cover.
Exactly. And we don't really know like the footprint of even the land itself right now. And what parts of Hollywood Land it's even taken over. So it's kind of a hard assessment.
I don't even think Disney knows.
They probably don't. And Cassandra is in the house. Cassandra here says she's shivering right now. I'm telling you, George. Yeah, us Californians are built different. We're built different. Like 60 degrees anything is fucking cold.
Dude, I'm walking out in a Speedo.
Speedo. Yeah, record that. We'll drop that video for the members. We'll drop that video for the members, because you know what, George?
Oh my God, I'm really that guy.
You're that guy. You know what I'm saying? You are absolutely that guy. J Brad here says, you know what Hollywood Land could do? Bring back Superstar Limo, but make it Simpsons themed. Oh, that's interesting. That way you can still have pop culture based humor. That's a great idea. And I think The Simpsons, J Brad, brings a lot of opportunities with that, to have that pop culture kind of humor, a little more meta. And if you're looking at what Disney has been doing lately with The Simpsons in terms of like Disney Plus, like those shorts and all that, they do a lot of meta stuff, like this, like The Simpsons kind of poking fun at Disney and kind of incorporating some of Disney's in-house IP. I could see Disney, if they want to build a Simpsons attraction, how they sort of do that whole like IP synergy. You know, that which plays to George's idea with the great Simpsons movie ride, where you have iconic Disney movie moments as told by the Simpsons characters. You know, you have Homer holding up Maggie for the Lion King. He's on Pride Rock, and all kinds of, Simpsons cinematic moments, but told through the Simpsons kind of lens, Lens.
And I was also thinking too, like have Maggie dressed up like Indiana Jones, like with a hat, a whip, maybe a little jacket, and then as the boulder is coming closer to her, it's really Homer's stomach.
Yeah, exactly. Slimer here says Adventureland Pirate Bar first, everything else is an afterthought. There you go. The Pirate Bar. Absolutely. Alexander Bia here says, are you two and possibly Mr. Seymour Duck going to react to the new Holo live song Odyssey? I am not familiar with that. Seymour is probably much more familiar with that. I will reach out to him, and I'm down. I'm down to react to it. I don't know what it is. Is it a music video? I believe it's like what we watched, George, with Seymour, the holographic thing on stage.
Okay.
The Japanese. So I think it's that, Alexander, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I'm open to it. I'll reach out to Seymour and see if he's down to react to that. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Let me see here. Oh, and he confirmed it, Mr. Seymour Duck. Okay, Mr. Seymour Duck, I'll hit you up in the DMs. We will yep, a new original MV. Okay, yeah, Alexander, we will definitely check that out and do it, handle it. Give me just a second, everybody. I'm kind of looking through here in terms of all the comments and everything. Let me see here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Curious what you both think of my take on the Villains e-ticket. You mean the one that you submitted through the members live? Actually, we're gonna save that because George and I actually have a video we want to do on that Dragon Blood. So hold that thought. Mm-hmm. We're actually gonna do it. George and I are gonna do a video on that. So we don't want to spoil that quite yet, but look out for that very, very soon. Dragon Blood. Look out for that very, very soon. Well, everybody, this was a very, very fun live show, a nice little Sunday evening live. I'm still battling this cold. Hopefully I get over it quick. It's just a pain in the butt. It's not terrible, but it's like just enough to be annoying, basically. But I should be okay. But George, tomorrow is move day. This is the last time we're going to see you in Italiano headquarters in PA. Mm-hmm. Any words before we head out?
Again, I'm very excited for this new chapter, new year. I can't wait to start new adventures in Cali, and it's gonna be a great time. I cannot wait. I'm very excited.
Absolutely, George is a new man, new year, new man, new home, everything new. But George, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There he is, Mr. California.
Hi. Monster on the beat, ho.
There he is, Mr. California. As of tomorrow, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We had a blast with everybody tonight. A lot of great questions. So we have a lot more content coming out this week. A lot of great collabos on the horizon. So look out for all that. Everyone have a wonderful night. And until the next time.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.